Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So, the task to create a short video with the title A Viable System Model for Dùthchas. So, where do we start? We start by defining terms. So, what is a system? What is a system? So a system is a group of things that are interconnected. They are therefore a collection of related parts, and they must have a common goal. So in essence, a system is a collection of related parts or interconnected components that has a common goal. This is a very important thing to remember, and any system designer can choose to configure the system around multiple goals. So, what is the goal of the system that we are building? So, let us say that our common goal, and we are all parts of this system, are to build a sustainable enterprise. And that is different to the system that we'll have to create once we've built it, which will be to maintain a sustainable enterprise. So the first thing to work out, or to be clear about, is that we want to build a sustainable enterprise, and that is the model that we are building. So that is the system part of the terms. What is a model is the next thing. So a model is just a description of reality. And Stafford Beer was a very clever guy, and he actually graphically represented a generic model which he believed could be applied to any system. A system to kill human beings, a system to grow vegetables, a system to navigate to Mars, whatever you wanted. So this is what his graphical representation of the model looked like, and actually it starts off just with this. This is the environment. This is everything that is represented by the environment, and actually you can see that God comes into here very quickly, because what's outside the purple line? So in order to be able to see more clearly, we take one part of everything in the world, the corporation or the model, the entity that you're trying to model, the entity that you're trying to model. So we're trying to model Dùthchas as some kind of company, corporation. So we'll take that and we'll expand it into a rectangle. So this is the model of the corporation, and as you can see, it has 5 components. It says subsystems 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But it's important to remember that actually this whole corporation is actually sitting inside the environment, and these are different parts of the environment. That might be children in Uttara, that might be the government, it could be anything. So these other external entities to the corporation will have relationships with different elements of the corporation, and that is the beauty, one of the beauties of this model. You have the environment represented and you have the corporation represented. So the corporation is represented by various subsystems which you have been working on understanding. Subsystem 1 creates the value. Subsystem 2 makes sure that the framework for the different components of subsystem 1, the subsystems, can work together. System 3, 4, and 5 represents the management function. System 3 looks at delivery, so how the different subsystem 1s are working right now. System 4 looks at direction and how the different subsystems might work in 6 months or year, 5 years. And system 5 is the purpose or the identity of the corporation as a whole, all of the systems put together. Just before we move on, it's important to note that the model is actually a specific thing. The model is actually a specific thing, and variety is a very important concept within VSM. Variety represents the number of different states available for whichever component of the system you are talking about. And there is a rule, which is, I think, Ashby's law, which states that complexity, varieties, is always greater in the environment than it is in the model. And variety absorbs variety, meaning that if the model is not adequately complex, meaning it doesn't have enough requisite states or possible states, therefore if its variety is not big enough to handle the variety within the environment, the whole system will collapse, because the model will not be accurate enough or good enough to be predictive or to be useful given the complexity within the environment. So it's a very important idea, we'll come back to it. So complexity or variety within the environment is always greater than in the model. And another thing, that the complexity or variety within operations is always, which is here, which is here. So variety within operations here, delivery here, is always greater than variety in management. So this is the least full, this is the next least full, and then the environment is the most full. And the language of systems is that variety can be attenuated or it can be amplified. Attenuated means shut down, compressed. Amplified means made larger. So if there isn't enough variety in one component of the model, that means it's attenuating signals, then the model is unstable and will collapse. Right, let us move on to what the third part of viable systems modelling is, which is the viability. Via is the same root as vital or vitality, meaning life. Curriculum vitae. So here Beer actually used the brain and the nervous system and physiology in general to talk about homeostasis. Homeo means the same and stasis is a condition. So what he meant was a system is viable if it can maintain its conditions, its internal states, given variability in the environment. So that's a very biological idea. It's how evolution works, it's how some plants survive in certain conditions and others don't. It's how bodies don't become too hot or too cold or too low sugar. Or, homeostasis is a very important physiological principle, meaning maintenance of an internal state. So it is a way that the system manages to be dynamic or adaptive, given the fact that we know for a fact that the environment is basically always dynamic. Okay, so that is a viable systems model, and then we can go into detail as to what the different subsystems 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 are in Dùthchas, and that is what I will address next, inshallah.